Hi, welcome. Thanks for checking out my tips and tricks collection on how to plog. So what's this all about? Well, over on my Instagram account, wayeoflife, links below, it's pretty cool right here. What I've done is every now and then I post these tips and tricks, just little 1-minute films on what I think are important things to know when you want to plog. Now, I'm a plogger and I've actually made a commitment that every day that I go out for a run or a bike ride, anything I do on Strava, I have to pick up at least one piece of trash. Now, I'm training for marathons and I want to do the best I can in those marathons. So I don't want it to impact my training too much, but I do want to make an impact on the environment. So to do that efficiently, I've had to come up with these sort of rules and sort of guidelines that really help me and hopefully will give you some ideas on how you can do plogging and maybe incorporate it in your daily life. You don't have to do as much as I do. Some of these won't apply, but hopefully you'll find them all useful and thought-provoking. So they're just sort of 1 minute each. There's quite a few of them to get through, but I'm not going to do any fanfare. Let's just get cracking. Here's number one. Tips and tricks on plogging. Here we go. Let's get started. 1 minute segments starting now. What is your message? So this is the first question you need to ask yourself before you even start plogging, really, is what is important to you? What message do you want to convey through your plogging? Is it that you want to get the litter off the streets? Is it that you want to stop single-use plastics? Is it that you're just disgusted the amount of energy drink cans that are lying on the ground? So everyone has got a different reason of why they plog, and it's important to understand that reason for yourself, why you want to do it. And the reason why that's so important to define your message is because that positivity is going to show through. Just tidying up any litter off the ground makes an impact, but if you do it through something you're really committed to, it takes it up to ABBA-esque level. See, I told you it'd only be a minute long, so let's see what the next one's about. Today's tip is about exploring new places. It's a circus? Cool. As a runner, you can just get stuck in doing the same routes over and over again. As a plogger, you want to find new routes because you tidied up the litter there. Let's go and find some litter somewhere else. And it gives you a chance to find new places to run. So, is it going to be a great place to pick up litter? Is it going to be a great place to run? The only question is, which way now? Let's go this way. When exploring new routes, just remember where the bins are. And of course, new routes mean fresh litter. So this next one's about starting small, and that's probably the best advice I can give anyone if you want to get cracking. So let's have a look at that one. So today's tip is for beginners and where to start. My advice, start small with just one piece. One piece on each run means that you won't impact your training, but you are making an impact on the environment. Start small. And then on another day, build it up maybe to a handful of rubbish or even a bag. No, that's cheating. You just did a costume change. It's not a different day. Start off small and sustainable. It keeps it fun, and you can always add more at a later date on a later run, or even the same run. Hopefully you're enjoying these. If you are, then why not give it a thumbs up, and in fact, why not subscribe to my channel? I don't have many subscribers, so that would give me a nice warm gooey feeling. So do that. Share it with your friends as well if you think it's important for them to see it. So in this tip, I'll tell you about how important social media is. We know that social media can be a bad thing, but it can also be a great thing. It can inspire people and it can raise awareness. Don't just do your trash collection or your plogging. Make sure that you post about it and let people know what you're doing. Maybe it will then get people talking about it amongst your circle of friends and family and colleagues. Maybe it inspires them to join in. The other thing it might do is to raise awareness to the point where someone doesn't drop litter. How cool would that be? And tag the brands and the companies whose litter it is. It's not to moan at them, it's there to say, look, this is an issue, we need to do something about it. You can change your marketing, change your packaging, change the way you sell your products, and we can actually inspire change through our actions. Together we can make it better. So bag it, post it, tag it, and then bin it. Also, if you've got any ideas of your own, then leave them in the comments and maybe I'll make another film on those. They're ideas that we can all share together. So leave your ideas in the comments below. No, not going to pick that up because today we're talking boundaries. So what do I mean by boundaries? Well, I mean a set of rules you come up with for yourself to help define when and where you plog. So it might be, for instance, once a week you're going to pick up a bag of litter, or maybe once every time you run you pick up a handful. So it's just a clear definition of when you plog and when you don't, and that means you can enjoy your running guilt-free. It means you can go to the shops, and just because you're labelled a plogger, it means that you don't have to pick up every single piece of litter. Trust me, that is actually one of the hardest things to overcome, and you can overcome it through a clear set of boundaries of when and where you plog. Don't feel guilty when you're not picking up litter. That's so important if you want to sustain it and want to have fun doing it. This next video looks a bit different. That's because it's specifically about Plogstop. I did this way before any of the other ones, so it's a different style, but I talk about Plogstops later on. So let's have a look at what Plogstop is. Plogstop! Plogstop, Plogstop, Plogstop.
Something great, that's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Bit of opera album, and there's also frame to collect as well.
Oh jeetje.
Ja.
Goed man.
Ja, dankjewel.
Ik probeer het ook, maar ik heb een eigen plastic zak, maar inderdaad als ik het ergens zie dan denk ik...
Ja, precies. Ja, I mean it hoeft alleen. So Plogstop, 2 minutes work. So what I did was... Blimey, there's a lot of them, isn't there? I know, let's have a break. Why don't you put things on pause? Are you ready? Okay. Press play. Was that the right way around? I don't know. Is that the right way around? Let's watch the next one. Today's tips and tricks on where to put your litter once you collect it. So, recycle it or bin it? Well, obviously recycle has a better impact, so try and do that where you can, but as a plogger that's not always easy. You might be miles away from a place and it's easier to put it in the bin, so there, don't stress it, put it in a bin. Remember, it raises awareness to the council, and of course it's better to have it in a bin than on the ground. In future tips I'll give you some strategies on how you can maximise your recycling without affecting your running. I kind of need a cat on here. I've got this chair thing. I kind of need a cat. Oh, yes, Mr. Bond. Yes. How to carry your trash when plogging. Bin bags are a common thing that people use for picking up their trash. The only thing is they are made of plastic, so bear that in mind and make sure that you actually pick up enough to offset that plastic that you're using. And they get pretty big and heavy, so bear that in mind if you don't have the upper body strength that I do. Same thing with the smaller bags. Offset that plastic that you're using with the amount of litter that you collect. Another alternative is sometimes you find these in the hedges and things, and then it's perfect because you're actually using trash to pick up trash. So if you find a bag, fill it. you follow me, you know these are my favourite. They're biodegradable bags, they've got little handles, they're really easy to carry, and just put them in my belt. I use them when I need them. So I've got those handy, got them in my coat pockets, etc. So whenever I need them, I've got them. The only thing is they do cost money. So it costs me about 10 cents every time I use one. So that's one factor to think about. But they're really handy, love them. Reusable bags for obvious reasons. Those are the favourite of many people that do litter collection or plogging. You can reuse them, they don't cost any extra impact. Just make sure you get one that you can actually wash. That would be my advice, because they can get a little bit smelly. The reason why I don't tend to use them is because I do a lot of my running combined with my plogging. In fact, that's what I always do. So I don't really want to have to carry something like this around with me the whole time. So that's why I stick to mainly the biodegradable ones. Another option is this. It's a plog sack. It's brand new to the market. They did give me one to try out. I don't get any other perks or anything like that afterwards. I'm going to give it a go. I think it's going to be really good for sort of people that are doing straight on litter collection or plogging, and that's the only activity they're doing at that time. But I'll give a full review once I've tested it out. But it's pretty useful. We're hands-free and everything like that. I'm really enjoying it. The key is experimentation, just like your student days. So try a few of the different options, see which one works best for you. And it could be that one works well in one situation and another method works well in another one. So that's what I do. I use several of these techniques throughout the course of my plogging week. Give it a go. You can even juggle. Today's tips is all about thanking the thankers. So why is it so important to thank the thankers? Well, apart from being polite, it's also a positive reinforcement about what they've done. It's more likely it's going to stick in their minds. It's more likely they're going to tell people about it. It's going to have a ripple effect throughout the community just by saying thank you. So do that to help spread the message you're trying to do. Hey, dankjewel. Thank the thankers. What are all these weird things behind me? Do you wonder that? That's like weird, huh? Do you think you know? Why not leave a message? So today's tips and tricks are about keeping a lookout. So what do I mean by keeping a lookout? Well, you can't be expected to pick up litter 24/7, but you can keep an eye out for bad areas. So this is a bad area on the approach into Nijmegen, so I've just planned a recovery run. I've just jogged out here nice and easy, pick up a load of trash, head back. Nice easy run, nice big plog. Keep a lookout for trash for future days. So I've just done that 200 meter section, and this is how much. So, keep a lookout for litter. You can always come back to another day. I've got to find some place to put it, damn it. Now for this next one, I had no idea what to call cycling and picking up litter and plogging, but apparently it's called Plycling. So let's have a look at Plycling. Today's tips and tricks, 2 strategies for plogging on a bike. A Plogstop is just when you stop halfway through a ride with a bag and then you just do a little bit of plogging. Have a look. It took me 2 minutes and I've done my Plogstop. I can just enjoy my ride now. Why not set a rule on a group ride so that when one of you gets a puncture, the rest of you just look around and see what you can pick up while it's being fixed. You can still moan at them because it's always the same person that gets a puncture. Why is that? Kind of makes the puncture worthwhile, huh? Not bad. Now obviously with this next one it's very clear, and in fact they all are, that these were all done predating Corona, predating the pandemic that we're currently in. So just bear that in mind when you look at these, that you need to abide by the rules of your government and the place where you live. So I've decided to keep it in because there are some things in here that are worth thinking about. And in fact, if you check out my Instagram account, and there's a link below as well, specifically to COVID, how I actually plog during Corona, then it gives you some ideas. But there's one idea in here about using one gloved hand only to go plogging, and I do that as part of my ritual now to make sure that I'm safe and all my friends and family are safe. And that is basically, if this has got a glove on, the only thing this will touch is litter. If this doesn't have a glove on, then I know I can touch other things or rearrange my hat, etc. But this one won't be touching the hat. So let's have a look at that, but just keep that in mind, yeah? Okay, let's talk gloves. Typical. Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. The answer is use whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you prefer gloves or no gloves, it doesn't matter. There are some things you need to consider, whichever choice you make though. If you don't use gloves, just think about what you're picking up. Don't go wiping your nose after it. Make sure you wash your hands straight away afterwards. And even if you wear gloves, don't go wiping your nose once you take your gloves off. Wash your hands first. Be hygienic. Some gloves are really nice for running, but they're not so good for plogging. So these ones, yeah, use them, but always make sure you wash them afterwards. So don't use them repeatedly. Some people use latex gloves. Now, I don't have an issue with that. I think it's a good idea if it gets you plogging, but just consider you need to pick up enough litter to offset that impact. There are also some really heavy duty ones. Now, I don't use those because I'm a runner. If I used a really heavy glove, it would get in my way. But if you don't run when you're doing your pickup, then maybe that's a good option. One option is just one glove. Don't feel you have to take two gloves. This could be your picky uppy hand, and this could be your wipey nosy hand. So that's pretty good when you're a runner. Another option is you use the glove while you're plogging. You've done your plogging, take your glove off and carry on with your run. That's a really good way of setting a boundary on what you do. And just be careful. If you pick up glass, it doesn't matter what type of glove it is, unless you're a medieval knight, you still could actually get cut, so be careful. But not every glove is good for plogging. Sometimes it's only good for pointing at stuff. To keep things sustainable, you have to have fun. So here's a way you can have some fun. Today's tips and tricks is all about having fun when you're out plogging. Like anything in this world, the more fun you have with something, the more likely you are to do it. So just have fun. Today, for instance, I'm going to pretend I am the Seven Dwarfs. Yes! Yay! My medical opinion is that Way of Life is crazy. I hope you enjoyed that. I know it was a bit long, but there was a lot to get through. I've also got a lot more ideas I want to cover off in future editions, so if you like it, then I know that I should do that. But if not, then just follow me on my Instagram, because I'll be doing, each day I sort of talk about things that I discover, etc., before I put them in a tips and tricks post, so that might be worthwhile following out. And in fact, there's a link to each of the posts that were originally made for the short films that you've seen. It might be worthwhile following those, because it's not just for the description I put alongside it, but there's also some discussions that are going on by people in the comments, and that might be worthwhile checking out. So yeah, that's it. I might as well end now, so bye. I don't know, was that a good end?